Welcome back to Music Theory Logic. Andrew here, and today is another Making It from Scratch. It's number 2, and that's where I'm going to basically build an instrumental from scratch. I don't guarantee these are going to be great. Some are going to be bad. Some are going to be cool. I wasn't excited about the one we did last week, but I've worked on it since then, and I'm actually pretty excited about it. So this is kind of a fun challenge. Let's go ahead into Logic. So this is a default instance of Logic with our default patch up here. Like last week, I'm going to write some of the music stuff just with this basic instrument, and then I'll use that music or that MIDI that I've created to audition other sounds that will work better in the actual track. So let's go after it. So I try to think of an idea or something that would be kind of like a fun thing to make. I was in a minor key last time, so I think I will do something in the major key. However, I think what I'm going to do is use F Lydian. So what that means is I'm going to use all the white keys, so super basic, from F to F. That scale would be called F Lydian. It's one of the 7 musical modes, and it also happens to be the mode that Stay, that Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber song, uses. So the basis for a Lydian chord or scale is going to be the major chord, so that's the 1. It's the same as, let's say, F major. It's also going to have an E minor, we could do a G major, and then finally it's going to have the 5 chord, that's a C major. All right, so again, this 1 chord, if we were in the key of F major, we would have a diminished 7th chord, so this would be like an E diminished. It's E minor instead, so that B note changes that chord. Also in a minor key, the 2 would be a diminished key, or in a major scale, the 2 would be a minor. So this is a major chord, so that's a G major. Cool, really, really basic. We will make it a little bit more interesting for sure. But we have a fundamental chord progression. Let's go with, let's see, let's do something like 140 today. It's a tempo I did a lot of my stuff at. I'm gonna bring that metronome on. All right, now I'm going to, let's write an arpeggio sequence. So an arpeggio is a chord, but it's a broken chord, so playing 1 or 2 notes at a time. So I'm going to build an arpeggio here. You can also use arpeggiators to do this automatically. You're going to get a lot more customized control if we move the notes on their own. Something like this. Too fast. Let's go. Can make it feel like a major 7th. All right, so this is just going to be kind of a supporting chord layer. And one of the simplest ways to write an arpeggio is once you have a pattern like this that you like, we could add to it perhaps. And then basically we'd mimic that with the same, with the different notes that are in the next chord. So we could get the 3 16th notes ready to go. And then what I mean by copy it is we're starting on the 2nd 8th note, so that would be here. This is then the next note from the chord. That would be here. The next note from the chord. would be here. That's an octave up, so that would actually be the same note. And then we could come down to a B. That's this. All right, cool. So it's, again, sounds like the same thing, only the notes are slightly different. That's going to add to the consistency of the music. All right, so the weird thing about doing these videos is I have to kind of think creatively and also, you know, be aware enough to articulate what I'm doing. So this is just going to take some practice. If we just repeat that a second time. All right, so then we get those notes ready to go. So it's a C major chord. So what if I do just a giant arpeggio? Let's see what that sounds like. I don't like it. What if we mimic the first one? Cool. So one really fun thing to do with arpeggios like this is to use delay to make it so that these notes happen at the same time as one another. Since we built them from chords, it's going to sound cool. It's going to work. It's not going to create a bunch of dissonance. But we can also stumble across some pretty interesting textures that way. So let's first get a sound here that works a little bit more. I'm going to go with a pluck, something from Iris 2 from Isotope. I did do a breakout video on this this instrument. Pretty cool. I like a lot of the sounds. Just using. Might be a little percussive, perhaps. I like it more. All right, so let's add a delay. Let's use Arturia's tape delay. All delays are going to have like the buttons in different places, but they mostly do the same things. So I'm going to want to link this to the actual tempo. I'm going to want to link the two of them together. And let's see if I do a quarter note delay. Let's see how much echo amount. Cool, that'll work for now. Let's grab another instrument for our pad. I did this last week, but I've just been loving, got like the Sound Collector's 20th edition pack or whatever it's called from Arturia, and it is filled with instruments. It would take you a long time to literally go through every single patch that's even with this. A lot of these instruments are built based on analog synthesizers that actually exist, so I wanted to get, that's why I got the patch. So let's go with a pad sound. Now this is really similar to like Omnisphere in the way that you can search. So I've got a pad, and now I could go with something simple. Let's go simple, and perhaps digital sounding. Now let's make this more of like a chord progression, in the sense that, I mean, this is already a chord progression, but I just mean more of like a strum pattern. You probably, if you're familiar with the channel, you know I love to play guitar, and so I think about a lot of keyboard stuff, sort of like from a guitarist's perspective. This is kind of like strumming for a guitar. Time. Now, I haven't really added any new notes, but that gives this a totally different feel. Makes it give more energy. We'll come back to that. I still want something that plays the actual chord progression. I should have saved that MIDI before I changed it. Take these, I'm gonna drag them out. I'll add an additional root note, an octave below. Simple way I would play this on the keys. And then let's change our instrument here. Let's go to keys. Let's go with FM keys. Now we're gonna get some pretty weird sounding stuff, I imagine. Now let's add a bass in here. Now this is where sound design is going to be super helpful. I'm not going to build the craziest sound, but I can build something custom for this. Now I'm going to do kind of like an eighth note feel to it, so I can use the LFO to just literally take this default thing, stutter it to an eighth note like this. Then I could come up with a different wavetable. Bend that slightly. Speaking of FM, I can add some FM here. I could filter all that. Alright, simple eighth note. Just thinking ahead, I feel like right there, after 16 bars, we could go to perhaps a different chord. Let's think. If I'm in the key of F Lydian, let's see. I could do, let's say, an A minor, maybe an A minor 7th. We could kind of hold that. Go to back to our 1 chord, go to major 7. Do that kind of feel. And we could bring this back, but put it on the same chords that we had. So that with an E, and an A, and our G. And we're gonna keep that going. Pretty cool sounding. Trippy. So this is like a kind of a cool accident to get sometimes. So technically I changed the chord here, and the chord that I had is our 1 chord, and we're playing a completely different chord here. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. The thing I love about writing music is that ultimately whatever we choose to be correct, we can make feel more correct by repeating it, and we can really do whatever we want. So that creates a polychord right there. I could tell you what it is if I'm playing an F major 7 and I add a G, that's already an F major 9. If I add a B, what is that? A 12, and a D, it's a 6. It's a crazy, so that's a polychord. Anytime you're combining like 2 different chords, it sounds pretty rad. Nice, I dig that. Our bass. bass line in there. So we got an A. All right, I want to mimic this sound up here. This is kind of a cool little trick. So I'm going to bounce this in place, this serum patch. Then I am going to chop it up into 4 sequences. I'm going to slow it down. So right here, this straight time, it's 8th notes on the bottom, it's quarter notes on the top. So that works together. Now I need to go in here and change the LFO pattern. So what I mean by that, and this is where knowing a little bit of theory is super helpful in sound design. So this speed right down here, this 8th note is what is triggering the movement of this patch. All right. Now, if I add our triplets and dotted rhythms, it's going to open up all of our possible rhythms. Now, I think this is a dotted 8th note. All right, so by doing that, I then am going to take this, I'm going to bounce it in place, so it's a different rhythm. Otherwise, it's the same patch. I'm going to, let's see, do the same thing I did before. So I'm going to chop it into 4 sequences. I'm going to shorten it. So it's also a half note. I'm going to start it on the 2nd. Drag it so they're on the same patch. And let's see if we matched our chords. Now that one is wrong. I could get the right one. And the time, there it is. Now I could mimic that quarter note. Let's do that. Back to the quarter note. Quarter note gives it a good little bounce. Up. That one's wrong too, so let's correct it. So what happened there was we took it from the beginning of the measure, but that pattern actually changed. So let's, so it wasn't right. It's right there. This one, same thing happened. So I had it starting on the 2nd 8th note. So it wasn't in time, but now it is. All right, cool. Let's hear it with our chords. Adding some reverbs. Bussing. Let's hear it in context. add some drums in here. Now, in the interest of time, I'm not really like planning on making this like a fully finished track in one of these videos because I want to keep it in a length that is reasonable for you guys that want to follow this stuff to actually watch. So let me know in the comments if you want me to post a follow-up video. I'm happy to keep working into this, but let's get some drums in here. Let's take this and do kind of a crazy effect. Let's put it through a guitar amp. We're going to make it not out of the guitar amp forever. So, all right. Every once in a while, my Logic does this. Like the computer is trying to catch up. So the trick is to cut and paste that MIDI if that happens. And let's automate that to turn off. Save it till after. See what our drums sound like there. All right, cool. So with a track like this, there's not really any melody going on. So I kind of picture this as building like a canvas or maybe a frame for something that will be a painting. And I'll come back to this, and I feel like this will be a really fun breakout video. I'll do a video where I just write a melody to that. So be sure to follow the channel, and you'll see that in the really near future. Let me know if you have any questions about what I did. We're in F Lydian. Doesn't have to be super complicated, even though that seems like it. It's basically like F major, only instead of having B flat be the fourth note, our fourth note is a B natural, the white key. Should make it easier for some of you that don't know any scales. So then this next section, we basically went to a new chord, but and that chord was a minor seventh, which makes it kind of pretty right here. Besides that, kept it pretty simple. Again, I will pick back up with a lot of these tracks. I'm not under the illusion that I could finish a song that I think is worthy to release or something great when I'm really like just doing it on the spot, trying to keep it concise for you. Hopefully you got some insights, some ideas from that, or a glance into my mindset when I'm writing music. Again, it's going to take some practice staying creative while also articulating or saying what I am up to while I'm writing music. But hopefully you enjoyed that. If that was helpful, you'd help me out a ton by subscribing to the channel. I will do a breakout video where I write a melody to that, and I will pick back up with the song. Once again, my name's Andrew. Thank you for hanging out, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.